up guys, welcome back to another Vlogmas video. I just got back from work and undid my bun and I'm looking a little ratchet right now, just a little bit. Alright, so today on the docket, I already started dinner. Dinner is in the oven. It is chicken Alfredo night. Chicken Alfredo. It's Chris's, or one of Chris's favorite dishes that I make, in case y'all wanted to know. I don't know why y'all would want to know that, but now you know. So dinner's in the oven. I need to change out the dishes from inside of the dishwasher, put them away, and I just have some chores I need to do. Also, I have received some Christmas gifts that I need to wrap, throw in a box, and send them to my parents. So let's get started on these chores. One thing I have done already though, I started the fire and I turned on my electric blanket, because those are like the first two things I do once I get home and I let this little girl out to go potty. You wanna put on your Santa hat? Boop. Yeah, that's the first thing I do, because like it gets cold in the house, but not too cold. It doesn't get below 62 in the house during the day, and currently it is 64. It's currently 64 degrees in the house. So what I do whenever I get home is I start the fire and turn on the blanket, and dinner's done. So I am a big fan of making a dinner that both serves as dinner and that we can take the leftovers for lunch the next day, because sometimes we just get so busy during the day that we forget to like go out to grab some lunch, or like we have meetings during lunch or whatever the case may be. So having dinner ready and available like in your office it comes in clutch. Alright, so now that everything is cleaned, dishes are put away, laundry is done, let's talk, and more specifically, let's talk about Alaska. There we go. Alright, so when people hear about Alaska, the first thing people think is, oh my gosh, that's in the middle of nowhere, or there's nothing there, why would you want to go to Alaska? Well, I'm here today to tell you that there is way more to Alaska than just land. We're gonna talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Mainly the good and the bad about Alaska. All right, so the first thing about Alaska is that there's so many things to do here, especially if you are an outdoorsy person. You got hiking, you got rafting in the summer, you have snowboarding, skiing, snowmobiling, ATVs, you got dog sledding, which is really cool. We have a hot springs that you can visit in the summer or the winter. You got whale watching, deep sea fishing, ice carving contests. Like there's endless possibilities. There's also cruises that you can take, Alaskan cruises. Obviously there are no cruises currently based on the world situation, but yeah, that's definitely something you can do. There's also so many things to see here in Alaska. There are tons and tons of glaciers that you can actually drive to. There's actually one here that's actually just 2 hours away from Fairbanks, which is really cool. So that's definitely on the list to go. There's also other things to see, like animals, like different animals. So we have moose. Like we literally had a moose in our yard last night. Like it was awesome. And then they have these cool birds called a puffin. I've never seen one. It's definitely on my Alaskan bucket list to mark off, is to see a puffin. You got the reindeer at Santa Claus house. It's pretty cool. There's also other cool things to see, like the Santa Claus house in North Pole. You have the oil pipeline. There's a lot of cool things to see. All right, some people think this is a bad thing, but it's honestly how you see it. The summer solstice on June 21st. I believe it's June 21st. It's the longest day of the year, especially here in interior Alaska. You have 24 hours of sunlight. Like, yes, it might be hard to fall asleep at night. However, with some good curtains, you'll definitely be good to go. But there's so many events that happen during summer solstice, like parades and midnight baseball games, and it's just also just amazing. Just think, if you have 24 hours of sunlight, there's so much you can do in a day. Like it's awesome. Sometimes it throws you off because you can't get that much sleep, but it's pretty good. Another cool thing is that certain parts of Alaska are actually tax-free. Like you don't pay taxes at all for any goods or services. Now, in Fairbanks, Alaska, we are tax-free. However, 20 miles away in North Pole, they actually do charge taxes. So it all depends on where you go. But if you're coming to Fairbanks, everything's tax-free. And the last thing is that you get paid to live in Alaska. It's part of the Permanent Fund Dividend, or the PFD. And you get paid. We can do a whole video on how you get paid being in Alaska, being a resident of Alaska. Just leave in the comments down below if you guys want a video on that. And I'll bring Chris in to talk about the intricacies of the PFD. But you actually do get paid to live in Alaska, which is, I think, the #1 best thing about being in Alaska. There are some downfalls about being in Alaska though. The first is that it's the only state this far north. There is a nickname for Alaska. It's called the Upper One. And then the nickname for all the states below Canada are the Lower 48. We are the upper state, the Upper One state. If you are military and all your family's in, you know, the Lower 48, you are far away from your family, and it is very expensive to travel home, especially during the holidays. Tickets can range from $800 to $1,400, which is insane. I would say that's the #1 downfall, especially as a military family, just being far away from your family. Another small downfall is that there's no mainstream stores or restaurants here. So as y'all saw in my last video, if you haven't seen in my last video, go ahead and click this I, watch it. It's our mall. So we don't have, especially in Fairbanks, Alaska, we don't have a Target, or we don't have a Chipotle, none of that. So we have very selective stores, and sometimes stores don't make it. They don't make it here in Alaska because we aren't seeking for anything additional. And sometimes restaurants and fast food places, they come up here, but they don't get a lot of sales, so they shut down. Another thing, Amazon Prime. Wherever you live, if you live in the Lower 48, you might get your Amazon Prime orders in 1 to 2 days. If you're living in Alaska, your Prime is like 4 to 5 days. At most, it can take 15 days for your Amazon items to get here. Also, if you pay attention to commercials, maybe it's fast food or just products or anything like that, and somebody says free shipping, always read the fine print, because Alaska and Hawaii are excluded from that. You do have to pay for shipping, which is pretty sad. But it just takes it so long to get here, and products have to go through certain customs and certain things in order to get all the way to Alaska. Which makes me lead into another point, that some things are expensive to ship here. Also, like USPS, UPS, FedEx, those rates are through the roof. If you're shipping something through USPS, it might take about a week for it to get down to the lower 48. And the rates here are much higher than they are down in the lower 48 as well in regards to USPS packages. Here they measure and weigh your products because the airlines charge USPS for space and weight. Therefore, USPS has to charge the customer. Which leads into our second to last worst thing about Alaska is the raised prices. As y'all saw in my grocery video, if you haven't watched that, click this eye. Their prices for items up here are expensive. You might pay maybe $2 for a gallon of milk down in the lower 48, and here it's close to $4, so almost double the price. And that's simply because it costs for goods to get up here. Especially fresh produce. Whenever you buy fresh produce, it's almost on the verge of rotting. Not quite, but it's almost there. So it takes a little bit extra for your goods to get here in Alaska. Also, the fast food prices here. Typically, you'll see commercials for like a 4 for $4 deal or a buy one, get one for $1 from McDonald's or anything like that. Not in Alaska. Ours might be buy one, get one for $3 or $4. That's how expensive it is. Also, let me know down in the comments below if you guys want to see like what kind of fast food places we have here. All right, and the last worst thing about Alaska is the winter solstice time. That is the time where we are completely opposite of summer solstice, where we have tons of darkness instead of tons of sunlight. So the winter solstice normally happens around December 21st, and that is the longest day of the year. Currently, our sunrise is around 10:30, and our sunset is around 3 o'clock. The closer and closer we get to December 21st, the shorter and shorter time of sunlight we have. Currently, we are losing almost 8 minutes of sunlight a day, which is very, very fast. So come winter solstice, it's going to be very, very dark. So keeping up with your vitamin D is definitely important, as well as keeping up with just your mental health. Like sometimes if it's gloomy outside, you know, you might want to stay in bed all day. So it has the same effect for winter solstice. So just making sure you have bright lights around your home. They call them happy lights around your home, and then supplementing with vitamins for your vitamin D so you don't end up with vitamin D deficiency. But all in all of these worst things, it's all about how you make it. So if you gripe and complain about not having Chipotle or not having sunlight, or you know, your packages just taking a little bit extra time to get here, you know, plan ahead, utilize resources, and make friends. I mean, it's hard today to make friends just simply because we can't, you know, interact with people like we used to. But it's all about what you make it. Alaska is a great state. I was actually born here, so I might be a little biased, but I come from a military family, so we moved around a lot. But Alaska's pretty awesome. If you have any other questions about Alaska, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer them either in a video or just simply comment back. But that is all for today's video. Thanks for coming back and watching. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure you subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell whenever you do subscribe so you don't miss any videos that I post, especially during Vlogmas. We're getting closer to Christmas. I'm so excited. Christmas is my favorite holiday. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye! Are you ready to play now? Okay.